Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the 12th and the final day of Reinventing Relationships, the workshop being organized by Divine Feminine Sangha. And today, I would like to express our deep felt gratitude to Patricia and Pranahita for creating this beautiful platform where we have been learning about different relationships over the last 11 days. And today, I'm extremely privileged to welcome our guest speaker, Saroja ma'am. Saroja Gullapalli is an engineer by profession and a former senior corporate professional from an MNC in Melbourne, Australia. She's also the founder of Beyond Your Mind Foundation and Crystal Corner Children Academy, Saroja's self-empowerment platform, and Saroja's holistic living and awareness counseling program. Saroja ma'am is also an award-winning motivational speaker, self-empowerment coach, and holistic counselor. And in addition to all this, she's also written a beautiful book by the name of The Red Rose. She has received multiple accolades, and one of them is the Victorian Multicultural Award for Excellence from the Australian government in recognition of her meritorious service to the community. She's also received the Brahmavidwanmani at the spiritual conference at the Mahila Dhyana Mahachakram in Kartal, India in the year 2019. She was the chairperson of the International Conference on Integrating Spirituality and Holistic Living in Organizational Leadership in the year 2015 in Chicago. As part of her community work, she has conducted over 500 workshops and sessions across Australia and various parts of the globe in the last 15 years. You can find all of her workshops, videos on the YouTube channel, Saroja Self-Empowerment Workshops. And she has been running enormous support groups across Australia and abroad too. I'm extremely privileged to have Madam today with us. Ma'am, take over and please enlighten us on the topic of holistic relationships. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sri, for giving such a great introduction. I'm really blessed to be on this platform. My humble pranams to all the organizers of this platform, starting with Pranahita, who has started this Divine Feminine Sangha, and all the women who have been here behind her. Such a great program that she has initiated for this last 11 days, and I think today is the 12th day, on relationships. And no matter how much you talk about this topic, it always remains a mystical, a complex word in the human minds. So, my dear masters, when Pranahita madam came to me and said, Madam, which aspect of relationship would you be addressing? I thought, I do not want to pick one aspect of it. I might as well cover it all. So today, masters, what I'm going to really share with you is about holistic relationships. So you might wonder, what is holistic relationship? The word sounds quite good, but exactly what is it? So my dear masters, let's talk about this holistic relationship a little bit more further. Holistic relationship, there are two words in it, masters. Holistic and relationships. Let's start digging into it step by step so that it becomes a little bit clearer why we have picked this topic of holistic relationship. The holistic word means complete. It means covering all aspects of a being. In other words, we say it's a 360-degree coverage. So when you talk about a human being, and that's what we are talking about, holistic means all the aspects that cover every part of the relationship of a human being. So that is what holistic word is. So I said there are two words in today's topic, holistic and relationship. So now that we have talked about what holistic is, let's focus a little bit on what relationship word is, masters. If you go to, or if you Google it or look in a dictionary, relationship word means the way in which two or more people or things are connected, or the state of being that connectedness, or the way they behave towards each other. Masters, for 1 second, let's just pay a little bit attention on what this definition is saying. Relationship does not mean the connection between just two people, masters. As the definition stands, the way in which two or more people or things are connected, and then the way they behave towards each other, that's what relationship is. But whenever we talk about relationship, masters, we only talk relationship between two people. That is only a small part of what this relationship is. And that's why today the topic is holistic relationship. Let's look at this word relationship from every aspect to understand what the true meaning of this is and how far have we really understood this, masters. So today we're going to talk about what are the aspects, because I did mention holistic means covering all aspects of a being. So let's go a little bit deeper into it and understand what are those different aspects. Not only that, so first, let's find out the different aspects so that we know what the holistic part is. And then, how do we behave towards each of this aspect? So why do we want to know how do we behave? Because let's go back to my definition again. Relationship means the way in which two or more people or things are connected and the way they behave towards each other. So if we have multiple aspects, then that means we have a relationship with each aspect. And if you have a relationship with aspect, then we need to understand what is our behavior towards that aspect. Only then can this topic be complete and can we understand what is holistic relationship. So masters, let's start listing down all the aspects that we can think of from this perspective of a human being, right? So if we start to divide this broadly, there are two environments, masters. One is our internal environment and one is the external environment, isn't it? If you look at yourself, there are only two environments. We always talk about this. One is the external cosmos and one is the internal cosmos, isn't it? There's a whole cosmos inside us. So let's make it very simple and try to connect it with those things that we have been talking about. Otherwise, all those things that we have learned so far in our self-discovery won't make any sense, masters, isn't it? Spirituality or the journey of self-discovery, everything is intertwined, masters. So whenever we talk about a topic, we should make sure that whatever our understanding has been so far is well weaved into the topic that we are discussing about. So that will be my effort, that as I go forward, talking about the different aspects of relationship, we will try to bring all the holistic knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, the self-discovery knowledge into this discussion of holistic relationship. So when we are looking at different aspects of us, I said I broadly divided into two categories. One, the internal environment, and obviously the other one would be the external environment. So, and master, as I keep talking about aspects, I will be counting here to tell you how many kind of aspects and relationships do we have, right? So when we talk about our internal environment, someone who has been attending my Crystal Children Corner, they will not have an issue about answering, well, how many parts or how many aspects do we have in this internal environment? Very simple. 4. Body, mind, soul, and spirit. So this internal environment, if you want to divide into aspects, what are the key aspects that you have relationship with? One is your body. We all can see that. Number 2 is mind. Though we can't see, we still know we have a mind. Number 3, which is soul. We'll talk about it a little bit more. and fourth is the spirit. And I'm going to elaborate each one of that in a minute. But at this stage, I'm just letting you know what are different things. And then we will come back and talk about what they are and the topic of relationship with each one of this. Okay, masters? So far we have had 4. Keep counting it. I don't want you to lose count of this. The number of aspects and relationship, because the topic is relationship. So body, mind, soul, spirit. We are up to 4, right? So this was our internal environment. Now, masters, now we're going into the other part. What's the other part? External environment, isn't it? I'm hoping that what I'm saying, it's making sense to you all. So let me recap again so that there's no gap between you and me. We are starting very simple, looking into the environment and saying how many aspects do we have that we need to connect to establish relationship. So how did I start? I started with the most simple classification, saying if I sit here, or even if you look at yourself, there are only 2 broad things. One is your internal cosmos, which is your internal environment. And the second one is the external cosmos, the external environment. So we started counting the internal environment and we came up with 4 things: body, mind, soul, spirit. And we are going to come back to each one of them. And now we are stepping into external environment. Now, let's start looking at the external environment. What are the aspects? Masters, I'm going to name them all, and then I'm going to come back in detail. I'm going to talk about each one of them, right? When you look at external environment, then the whole external environment, which is the major cosmos that we are a part of, it starts with, now your count is number 5, the emptiness or the void that we call shunya, which is the unmanifested universe, which is the field of infinite possibilities from which the whole creation has emerged. So you can't be separate from that because you're part of that, isn't it? So definitely you need to have relationship with that. So number 5 is that emptiness. And my dear masters, all those people who are with me on the journey of the 1,000 seeds of joy, we've been talking about this emptiness, void, and shunya in great detail in the last 5 classes, isn't it? So whoever has been with me on that journey, at least those people should not have questioned, what is this 5th aspect Madam has brought? But I will come back for those who haven't heard about it. I'm going to go through detail. So masters, we have 5 totally so far. Let's move on. What more do we have in external? So when I talked about the external cosmos, I started with the emptiness. What else do we have? I just now said, from the unmanifested universe, the field of infinite possibilities, comes out the manifested universe. So let's look at manifested universe. Is it just one or has it got more? Masters, the manifested universe, we are all quite experts in that. So before we talk about our expertise, let's start looking at how many kinds of manifested universe we have. What is manifested universe? It is the creation that has sprung out of the emptiness, isn't it? So when we talk about manifested universe, you have 2 parts underneath that. One is the visible creation, which is the matter, and the other one is the invisible creation, which is still not manifested as matter, but it is in the form of your energy world, your light world, all the subtle energy creation, right? So invisible creation is that energies which have still not manifested in form of matter, but they have manifested in energy in light worlds, right? So that's the difference. So let's not rush because there are more categories under that. So again, for you people to understand, I'm stepping back once more. I'm saying the emptiness. Now we are talking about the external environment, emptiness. Then I said manifested universe, which is our creation. And underneath manifested, I said there is a visible creation and there is an invisible creation. Now we have to hold on, masters, because this visible creation, though it seems like just one word matter, the visible world that we deal with is called our nature. But you know, masters, the irony, We human beings don't think we are part of the nature. So you know how we say the nature and then there is us. We never think, or we have never been thinking for eons that we are part of the nature. So we always think in our minds that there is this nature and then there is this human beings, because we are quite intelligent species. So we don't feel that we are part of this nature, isn't it, Master? That's the problem, basically. So when we talk about this so-called nature, right? So if we start counting in this visible creation, what did I say? There is a nature and then there is us. Us means we people. So emptiness was number 5. Number 6 is us people. And when you start looking at all the nature around us and you start counting, masters, what do we see in the nature? We all have been talking about nature so much since untold story of Sita wisdom sharing, isn't it? So the first and foremost thing that comes into our mind is our Mother Earth, the Mother Earth that we live on, we live with. Of course, we don't understand that we live in harmony with it, but at least we understand Mother Earth. So if we human beings were number 6 aspect, Mother Earth becomes the aspect number 7. Then you have your mineral kingdom, number 8, plant kingdom, number 9, animal kingdom, number 10. So masters, I've been counting since we started looking at all the aspects of this holistic relationship. And so far we have got 10 aspects, right? So we have covered all the visible creation. But I said there is invisible creation. So that is number 11. I have kind of lumped everything into invisible creation, you know, the light and the energy and all one. So anything that you can't see with your naked eye, I've just lumped it together as invisible creation. So even if I broadly classify all these masters, minimum 11 aspects. When I say holistic, if you start counting, we could count at least 11 aspects of us that we are connected with. So quickly, let's look at the numbers of this 11: body, mind, soul, spirit, which is part of our internal. And now as we move to external, number 5, the void, emptiness. Number 6, us human species, we never want to be part of the nature. So whenever we say visible creation, we say we, because this is our story of relationship. So number 6, people. Number 7, Mother Earth. Number 8, mineral kingdom. Number 9, plant kingdom. Number 10, animal kingdom. And number 11, all that invisible creation that has been manifested, but you can't see with your naked eye. So we have counted 11, and nothing is alien to us, masters. All that I have just mentioned is everything that we have been talking about since months, since years, right? So whenever we talk about relationship, how come we only talk about relationship between people? It's always my relationship with my mother, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with children, my office colleagues. Because we human beings think that this is the only part of creation that matters. Which part? That we are human species. That is so important that we do not feel that we are connected to anything else, masters. Only when we step on the self-discovery journey that we slowly start listening that there are more than just human species, and we are really intertwined very well with every aspect that I have talked so far. And that's when we realize that we don't exist in this creation all by ourselves. But selfishly, whenever we talk about relationship, masters, because I have been following this relationship topic since the day it started, the discussion is mostly around interpersonal relationship. My dear masters, let's burst our own bubble. Let's not give so much self-importance to this human species alone, because just today we counted, we are one of the 11 aspects that we live with in our so-called life, masters. So if we are one of that 11 aspects, why do not we talk about our relationship with the other 10 aspects that I have just listed out? Why it has always to be just that one aspect, which is human beings, which we never even feel that we are part of anything, and we like to live in isolation. If we are living in isolation and we think we are so important, then masters, we should have worked out our relationship very well because we are very intelligent. However, the current state of affairs is the relationship that we are working on so hard, we haven't even learned the ABCD of it. What is ABCD? The rule 101, or the basics of it. We do not know why relationships are failing. We do not know what is the key to building relationships. Because, masters, as I said, we want to live in isolation in this creation, thinking nothing matters to us. We are the only species and we only matter. That's how we have lived, masters, ignoring everything, including the nature that we are integral part of. Nothing is separate, masters. Everything is intertwined like fabric and threads. What is fabric? Fabric is a cloth. And what is fabric made of? Made of, the threads. If you pull a thread, if you take out a thread, and if you start looking at the thread and thinking why it is not serving the purpose of the fabric, it won't. Because the purpose of the fabric can only be served when all those threads are properly intertwined and are in the place. If you pull out a thread, or if you just look through a magnifying glass on a particular thread and wonder why it is not doing the job properly for what it is meant, it won't, masters. That is exactly how the human species, or we, are dealing with our lives. We want to be in isolation with everything around us. We have closed we have put blinkers, we are digging our head into the sand like ostrich, and we think nothing exists. That's exactly what we are doing when we are looking at our relationship from only people's perspective, masters. So if we want to understand the exact way why these relationships are not working or how they should work, we need to understand the other 90%, because this aspects of 11 aspects that I showed you, out of that, this people part is only one, which is less than 10%, masters, of who we are, where we stand in this creation. So let's understand the other 90% of who we are, and that will fix the 10% that we are trying to make sense, masters. And that's the reason I had to go back and start listing everything, because all those 11 aspects that I listed, masters, is part of us, or we are part of that. If we are part of something, then how can we ignore? You can't, because there is already a connection. Where there is a connection, you need to understand how to respect that connection. The moment you say respect, that means the relationship necessity has arisen. So that was the reason why I was defining what relationship is. Relationship is not between two people, just two people, masters. Relationship is between two aspects. One of that aspect can be human being, but the other aspect, we have lost the plot, and we think that both the ends need to be human beings to have a relationship. That is the kind of thinking that we are developing, masters. The day we understand that we are social beings, of course, but our society expands much further than the small horizon that we have framed around us. So that's the reason why we were going through all these details, right? So, masters, when we start looking at the aspects, I said internal aspect and the external aspect. There were two things that I was mentioning, wasn't I? So let's start looking at each one of them a little bit more in detail, masters, right? So let's start with the external, okay? Because internal, we'll come to it, because we think we know everything that's within us. That's not going to be a problem, okay? If we are so confident about what our internal world is, that's okay, masters. We'll start with the external. Let's try to understand how much do we understand this aspect. Now, when I started with the external environment, which is our cosmos, the first thing that I started with was emptiness. Yes, masters, we talked about emptiness. And I did mention what is emptiness. We have talked about so much in detail, masters. In the last few weeks, we have been only talking about emptiness. But for today's sake, let's go a little bit deeper and understand what this emptiness is, what this void is, what this shunya is, from which everything has emerged, masters. So we all know the nature of this emptiness is infinite presence. So the only nature that we can define of this emptiness is infinite presence, masters. We also know that all souls, including you and me and the universe, they're all born from this emptiness with an explosion of joy. And we all know this is not an ordinary joy. It is a primordial joy, which is made up of this emptiness, which manifests all of this creation. Only a silent mind, very important thing that we need to understand. That is the reason why we are not able to see our relationship with this emptiness, because only a silent mind can glimpse this joy, because it remains hidden from a mind occupied with thoughts and emotions. Now we understand, masters, why we do not have a relationship with emptiness. Though we are claiming that we have all come out of this emptiness with an explosion of joy, but only a silent mind can glimpse this joy, because it remains hidden from a mind occupied with thoughts and emotions. So, masters, if you want to have a relationship, if you want to respect the relationship between who you are and the source, which is emptiness, then you will have to visit once in a while through your silent mind, going beyond your mind, masters. Beyond your mind means going beyond your mind occupied with thoughts and emotions. When you go beyond your mind that is occupied with thoughts and emotions, that is when you reach the silent mind, the sense of who you are. In that state, you can get a glimpse of this joy, which is the nature of this emptiness, masters. So while we are knowing what this emptiness, I'm also talking about how do we rejuvenate the relationship between you and this aspect. As the infinite emptiness expands into higher vibration of itself, that is how creation starts, masters. It creates the contrast of what emptiness is not. See, the whole creation is a contrast of this emptiness. And from that, we have come out as a contrast, masters. How? As descending levels of consciousness. From that high vibration, slowly, everything is coming out like matter. For that, the vibration levels have to descend. Then, what is made out of it? The soul consciousness, the body consciousness, the mind consciousness. Everything comes out of that infinite consciousness. So these descending levels of consciousness, they are like dreams within dreams, isn't it? We're saying everything is coming out of emptiness, the souls and the universe, and that descending levels of consciousness is the creation for the soul, and then the next level in that is body and the mind. So it's like dream within dream. If you have seen the movie Inception, you will understand how confusing it is to be in a dream, which is part of the dream. Everyone should watch the movie Inception. It is a fantastic movie. It gives you such a great spiritual understanding. So, masters, what we are discussing, it's like dream within dream, while emptiness itself is beyond this dream of consciousness. The soul sensations and all the soul feelings that we have. What are soul feelings? We did talk about it. All that primordial joy that we have been talking about, When we are in this body, we can't see the true form, but we can see it in a glimpse, like abundance, joy, different ways. So these are the soul sensations. These soul feelings and sensations, they're merged into soul consciousness, not in the physical realm, but when you leave the body, then you can feel this soul bliss, like soul feelings. But then the separation between the soul feelings and body sensation, it occurs in the physical realm, and hence we find it very difficult to distinguish between, is it a soul feeling or is it a body sensation? But when you're not in this body, you understand the soul feeling so well, masters. And that is the reason that when you are in the physical realm, it is so difficult for you to establish that relationship with that primordial joy, which is the true nature of emptiness from which you have merged. So, masters, the first aspect that I was talking to you of this external cosmos, the primary one is emptiness. And how do you cherish your relationship, masters? You cherish your relationship by understanding that when you are in your physical realm, it is very hard for you to establish that connection. But once you know about it and you know the ways and means to reach it, once in a while, you make the effort to go beyond your mind that is occupied with thoughts and emotions, because through that silent mind, you have that healthy relationship with that emptiness. So, masters, the first one, which is emptiness, we have just talked about that aspect and the relationship as a human being that we need to have with this emptiness, right? Now let's come to the next one. What did I say? In the external cosmos, I said there's emptiness, and then I said manifested universe. So emptiness is unmanifested universe. It's a field of infinite possibilities, the quantum field of possibilities. That's what this emptiness is, right? But now we are talking about manifested universe, which is manifested creation. And the first part within that is visible creation, which is matter, which we all can see. Now let's see the aspects and the relationship that we need to have with them, right, masters? Just now we said, just when we started the topic, that this visible world, the so-called nature, the first and foremost thing that we need to be aware of, masters, the most important aspect is our Mother Earth. We have called our Earth, our planet, Mother. There is a reason behind it, masters. This is not a dead planet, masters. For people who have been on the Inner Child Wisdom workshop along with me, for people who have gone through the practical workshop, we have gone through detail how we as a being coming to the Earth planet, we have spent incarnations and incarnations by giving part of the consciousness to Mother Earth to make it a live planet. So this Mother Earth that we see is just not mud and rock and water. No, masters. It is a live planet, because the consciousness that our Mother Earth shares is our consciousness. I don't know how many of you remember the story of how the consciousness started on Mother Earth. It's a long story. I'm not going to repeat all that. But what matters for today's relationship is we are the beings who came to this planet and we shared our consciousness with Mother Earth because we didn't want to live on a dead planet that doesn't have life, that doesn't have consciousness. So the consciousness that our Mother Earth has is our consciousness, masters. So we think we can only have relationship between two people. And what does people, why people? Because people have life, that's what we think. What is life, masters? Life is nothing but consciousness. If there is no consciousness in that person, there is no life. So from that definition, your Mother Earth is also a being. It has got your own consciousness. Then where is your relationship and where is your nurturing of relationship with Mother Earth? Why have we forgotten our Mother Earth for eons? Why is it that only now that we have woken up, Thanks to all those great books and wisdom that has reminded us that if we want to work on relationship, then more than inter-people relationship, the first and foremost responsibility is to our Mother Earth, that we need to maintain relationship. Because masters, if this Mother Earth does not maintain that balance of the chemicals that it has, of the lava and volcanoes that it carries within, to make sure that the right temperature is it on its surface so that we human beings have an environment to live on, we can't continue the life, masters. If you had attended my session on Mother Gaia, we went into the great detail about the scientist version, the hypothesis of how Mother Earth is regularly working to keep everything regulated to the optimal condition for whom? For us, masters. So what is the kind of relationship we need to have with Mother Earth? First of all, we need to understand that the planet that we are standing on is not a dead planet. It is a live planet which shares our consciousness, masters. And people who have attended my workshop called Ascension, they know what is happening to us and Mother Earth. The same consciousness that we came here with, we shared with Mother Earth. Mother Earth is happily moving along on the path of evolution, and we as a human species are stuck into the third density. That's a different story, masters. We are stuck because of our own complexities, but our Mother Earth, how can we not understand the relationship? We are always caught selfishly between our relationship. What about our relationship with Mother Earth? So once you realize that Mother Earth is a live, conscious planet, obviously you will start looking at your relationship. What is relationship? Again, going back to my definition of relationship, behavior. How do we behave with Mother Earth? Masters, when you walk on Mother Earth, do you feel the connection between you and the mother? Or you just walk because you have to walk and do your job? When you lie down on the grass, do you really feel that there is an energy exchange going on between you and the Mother Earth? How many times have you sat on the ground thinking, Mother, you are giving me everything, so thank you very much. Have you really paid gratitude from the bottom of your heart, masters? No. We're all learning now, masters. Centuries and centuries we have been living on this planet thanklessly. The children in the Crystal Children Corner, when we teach children about nature, about what our Mother Earth is, we have tears in our eyes that we didn't have anyone to teach us. Nobody told us when I was young that, you know, when you sit on Mother Earth, there is an energy exchange going on between you and Mother Earth. What kind of energy exchange? Mother Earth is taking all your negativity. Mother Earth is taking all your energy, which is depleting, and giving you positive energy to move on. Only mothers can do that. Only mothers can let children hit them but still love them. This Mother Earth that we live on is constantly giving us, masters. What kind of relationship are we maintaining? I will leave that question to you. Let's move on, masters. Then we are talking about mineral kingdom. What is mineral kingdom, masters? We don't have to go through very scientific terminology, but what we need to look at is simple. Rocks. Rocks are mineral kingdom. Yes, we can talk about all the chemicals on the periodic table. For chemistry students, they're all, you know, different parts of minerals and chemicals. But for today's discussion, let's make it quite simple. Mineral kingdom, masters, the so-called rocks that we hardly pay any attention. And then you must be thinking, what relationship can we maintain with a rock? Masters, first of all, we need to understand what those rocks are. What is there in it? Again, we have to go back to our ascension topic, masters. When, as a species, we entered on this planet, we had no idea. We were all light beings. We had no idea how life was going to be on this planet. So after we shared our consciousness with Mother Earth, then We had to take many incarnations to come and dip our consciousness first in the mineral kingdom, the rocks, because we wanted to feel this planet. Even before we came as a human being, we need to understand what this planet is like, because for our survival, we need to understand, we need to adapt. So our adaptation started with mineral kingdom. And for that, we had to dip our consciousness. What does dip our consciousness means? That for some time we had to experience, our consciousness had to experience what rocks are like. And what did rocks teach us, masters? Rocks teach us to be patient. Rocks, you don't see much action going on. They are just there in the witness mode. The rule number one of spirituality is witnessing, masters. The observation, the witness mode. And that's what we learned by dipping our consciousness into those rocks. And that is the first density consciousness. We all talk about ascension. Since last year, since the COVID, time has started, so many workshops on ascension. We are all talking about awakening, progression, evolution. What is this, masters? If you really step back and try to understand, when the consciousness evolves, it evolves in densities, it evolves in dimensions. The first density consciousness that we experienced was through rocks. So rocks are not dead, masters. They have our initial consciousness, which is singular in nature. Masters, these words may be difficult for you to understand, but at least make an effort to understand. We dipped our consciousness in the rocks to understand that. So the first density of consciousness, it represents the consciousness of all this physical stuff of the universe. Very important for us to understand that. In the rocks, there is first density consciousness. They are not inert substance, master. Inert means no reaction. No, they are not inert. But it is a specific form of consciousness. As planets form, the elements create a collective consciousness that becomes the consciousness of a planet, masters. That is how the rocks started. So the consciousness at this level of the rock is not singular, masters. With humans, we have singular consciousness. That means we have a separate, we are bubbled into our own consciousness through our body. But whereas when we talk about rock, it is not singular. It's like a consciousness in plural form. And then, so let's finish this first, masters, and then we will move to the next plant kingdom. So in my topic, when we are talking about nature, we just look at the rocks and we see what is the connection that we need to remember, masters, that part of our consciousness lies in that rock. And that is from where we have evolved. Our evolution started from the rock. That is where our first density consciousness started. So whenever we look at the rock, we need to remember the process of evolution of consciousness. We need to remind ourselves that consciousness teaches us the Sakshi mode, the witness mode. And what is that witness mode, masters? All these actions that we do is only in the body form. There is that witness within each one of us who is silently aware and watching everything that is going on. And that is the relationship which we have with rock, which we need to remind ourselves, masters, right? Then we have the animal kingdom, masters. When we understood what the first density consciousness is, we slowly took the form of plants. And when we again came into plants as part of evolution, that was our second density consciousness. And what did we learn through this second density consciousness, masters? Through this second density consciousness, we learned how to breathe. Today, we don't even think what is breath. Where is it coming from? This is the process of evolution that we went through on this planet, masters. When we were in the first density consciousness, no breathing, just witness mode. The second density consciousness evolution included the breathing process which plants breathe, masters. That is how slowly we were developing our consciousness before we became human species. So when you get connected to the plants, when you look at the plant's consciousness, you need to remember, masters, that breathing happens in the plants too. And so what comes along with it? What comes along with it is plants and human beings have a very strong relationship. And that is the relationship of emotion relationship, masters. When I talk about emotions in the mind part, I'm going to go through this a little bit more detail, but hold that thought here, that this breathing process that we think only we are doing, it all started from the plant kingdom. And hence, this and plant kingdom is always there. Whenever we go through our emotional turmoil, masters, we have forgotten that we have this plant kingdom as part of the nature that we share the relationship with, who can give us all that at the time of this emotional turmoil, masters. As part of nature, we teach children in our Crystal Children Corner that when we are going through an upheaval of emotion, go into a garden, go into a park. If you see a tree, just hug a tree. Masters, this is not just saying. This is through experiment, through practice that we are telling you that when you hug a tree, masters, that emotional energy that you have, which could be going up and down, that will all come to a harmony, masters, when you hug a plant, because plant is not in isolation. If you look at a tree, it is sharing, it is in harmony with the consciousness of all the trees around. They are in perfect balance, masters. So when you hug a tree with emotions going up and down, the relationship between the tree and you is the tree will help you to settle down with that group consciousness that it's sharing with all the trees, masters. What we are talking here about is just not inter-people relationship. It is the inter-relationship between every aspect of the nature and you, masters, because we have cut our relationship with everything outside. And today in this topic, I want to remind every aspect that we are related to and how that can help us, masters. And that can only help us when we know about it. So remember, masters, your emotional balance can be easily regained if you cherish the relationship between that plant kingdom and yourself. So, masters, when we are talking about this plant kingdom, when I said it's the second density of consciousness, which contains the consciousness of plants, at the early stage of second density is plants. As the second density consciousness gets more and more evolved, masters, we have slowly moved from plants to different animal species. So the animal species that we are looking around, different types of animals, is an evolved consciousness of us. We have been through every phase of this animal evolution, trying to be in the fish, trying to be in the reptiles. Slowly, as we are trying and experimenting our existence on this planet, our consciousness is developing, masters. So very early second density consciousness is more neutral. When we are talking about plants, the consciousness is very neutral because you're connected and it doesn't have any ego structure, masters. The early second density, there is no ego. As I'm telling you the topic of holistic relationship, I'm also bringing in all the aspects that we have been learning through different workshops so that we understand what we are talking about. However, as we move through second density towards the third density of consciousness on the spectrum, egoic structures begin to form. That is where you see in the animal kingdom, like dogs, chimpanzees, that is the beginning of ego structures, because when, you look at chimpanzee, it understands this is me, that is you. But if you talk about other animal species, they won't have that understanding, masters. So why did I talk about this evolution of consciousness now going to animal kingdom? To remind us that it is the same consciousness that we share with all this kingdom. Because to move to human or human species, we had to go through all this consciousness evolving, masters. So We are no different to the animal kingdom that is surrounding us. The only difference is they are on the lower density of the consciousness evolving spectrum, and we have just moved one step forward. Not much of a difference. So far, we have only talking about second density. As we move to the third density, life forms, these human forms with ego structures start happening, masters. So we humans have expressed our consciousness from third density frequency for a very, very, very long time. We are stuck in it, masters. We did very well from rocks to plants to animals to human species, yes. But after that, we have lost the plot. We are stuck in this third density, masters. And this is our problem. Because we are stuck here, we are not able to move forward. We have isolated ourselves. Because of our ego structure, we do not know how to handle or even to understand the other aspects of relationship in this creation. Ego is not bad, masters. Ego, the reason the ego came, as I always explained, there is a reason. Ego acts as an anchor to keep us in this separated reality. What is separated reality? When human being, we are separate. We feel separatedness, isn't it? That we only feel because this ego structure we have. So ego only acts as an anchor to have that separated reality, to give us the experience of separation. Third density is the most separated density of the spectrum, masters. But from here, as you move towards the high end of the third density, the ego structures will start disintegrating. It will start disintegrating. When it starts disintegrating, masters, there'll be fear, there'll be panic. You'll feel like you're losing control. But what really happens is the ego structure is shifting into a more natural state of existence, which has got very little to do with controlling, masters. So when human being as a species start moving from a third density consciousness to a fourth density, the first thing that start disintegrating is ego structure, masters. But this is the main struggle that we human beings are having, that we are stuck at the third density. And hence, when we talk about relationships, masters, it's only we cannot say anything else because we are stuck in this ego structure. Being on third density is not wrong, but getting stuck in third density is wrong. We were in first density, but we moved on. We were in second density. We moved on. We went into higher stages of second density. We moved on. But now, being in third density, we have been here for a long, long, long time, masters. So remember, ego serves as an anchor to keep us in our bodies. But our egos, they are weighing us down because we have taken it literally very seriously. And ego is the main biggest difference between the third density and the fourth density consciousness, masters. As we move towards the fifth density, the ego structure will completely disintegrate. Even at the very high levels of fourth density, the physical body, though you think it is still there, it's not the same, masters, because it has the capacity to hold much more light, and it eventually transforms from a dense physical structure to lighter physical structure. You won't need all this food that you need now. With very little food, and sometimes with no food also, this body can very well survive with that progression of that evolution. And as you move into the lower levels of fifth density, masters, the ego begins to move away from an individual identity to a group identity. Remember, masters, from an individual identity to a group identity. That is why in meditation, repeatedly we are saying, visualize the group consciousness, visualize that you're all connected, because this is where we are stuck, masters. We are stuck in individual identity. So whenever we talk relationship, we only talk about inter-people relationship, interpersonal relationship. This is our world. We don't want to talk relationship between me and my mother-in-law, relationship between me and my teacher, me and my husband. Why? You think you are the only species that is existing in this planet? Yes, you are thinking. Why? Because of this problem, masters. We're stuck in the third density. We are taking ego very seriously, and we are stuck in the individual identity. And the time has come. We need to understand all these aspects that I'm talking about so that we can release ourselves from this individual identity to this group identity. And as we move on in the spectrum of this consciousness from high fifth density to sixth density, the idea of singular identity. What is singular identity? We call in Telugu bhinnatvam. The idea of singular identity will diminish even more, because at this point there is no more anchor, masters. There is no need for you to stay in the physical body. So ego is not required as an anchor, because there is no physical body. By the time you have moved into sixth density, bodies are no longer required. And moving into the sixth density is where you start to find group consciousness. You know, all this channeling that happens in group, masters, from this is the dimension that the channeling happens. Why did I tell you about all this, masters? Why did I tell you about this ascension? Because we need to understand, masters, we are thinking we are separate. We are not separate, masters. We are part of everything that I talked about. The only reason that we are not able to get out of it and see our relationship is because of our complex ego thinking. We're stuck in the third density. So remember, when you look around, there is a visible creation that you can see, and you have connection with every aspect of it, because it's your consciousness that has developed from the mineral kingdom to plant kingdom to animal kingdom. And most of all, this Mother Earth has got your own consciousness. It's not the dipping consciousness. It's a part of you that has evolved along with you in the Mother Earth. Remember that, masters. So that's the visible creation we talked about. Then I said, there is an invisible creation, the energy world. Masters, as long as you think you are the physical matter, you never pay any attention to this energy world. You have any problem, you're trying to fix it at the physical level, because your relationship is only with the body. You cannot see anything more than that. So for you, even the perspective of having an energy world does not exist. Only through your inner journey, when you start understanding that whatever is visible is only a spectrum, a part of the spectrum. It is the gross matter that you're able to see, but there are subtler energies that exist, but you can't. When you get that understanding, masters, then you slowly start opening up and understanding that whatever you are able to visualize or whatever you're able to see as visible creation is only existing because of that invisible creation. What do I mean? I mean that this physical world that is here is as a result of that invisible energy world that exists. The gross world that is existing, the backbone is the subtler worlds, masters. So to make it more meaningful, so now we have talked about all the external aspect and the relationship. Why? Because if you don't want to have relationship, the relationships are not going to break. But if you don't look after relationship, what will happen, masters? You will not be able to cherish that relationship. For example, husband and wife, there is a relationship. Yeah, you both are married, you are into a relationship. You might just close your eyes and say, no, I'm not related. What will happen, masters? You will live in the same house, but that part of the relationship will slowly rust. And a rusted relationship doesn't look good. Why? Because it does not serve the purpose of that relationship. So unless we understand the aspects of relationship, we will not be able to nurture those relationships. When we come to internal environment, masters, I'm mindful of the time, so I will try to wind it up as quickly as I can, but I still need to finish this topic. So we talked about external aspects and relationship. When we talk about internal aspects, masters, where do we start with? Body. We understand body aspect very well, masters. We have done PhDs in body because we understand, the only thing we understand is body, isn't it? But have we paid a little bit of attention of this body? Anything, any information that is coming in this body is through this 5 senses. We all know 5 sensory organs. And masters, if you really want to have a good relationship with this body, because that's the most important thing. That's what we think it is. We're spending so much time on looking after the body, going to the gym and makeup parlor. At least we need to understand how to keep it well, how to have a good relationship. So how do you have a good relationship with your body, masters? Awareness. Awareness of what you do with this body at the physical level. How you eat, how you prepare your food, how you talk, your actions. Be complete awareness, masters, because the way we are living our lives is totally unaware. We have no idea. We are doing things in a zombie style. What is zombie style? Like a machine, autopilot mode. Keep thinking, keep doing. That is useless relationship with your body, masters. People who have attended Crystal Children Corner class, we talked about this body sensation, body awareness. Without awareness, this body cannot be looked after, masters. The food that you put in your mouth, you need to be aware of what's going in. Because if you want to look after this temple, body is a temple, masters, the right thing has to go in. You cannot absent-mindedly put anything that comes across, talk any rubbish that you feel like, do anything. Spirituality means awareness, masters. Spirituality doesn't mean that only when you are in meditation, you are aware of your breath, rest of the time you do what you want. No, that meditation is to give you discipline of how you lead the other 23 hours. So when you talk about body, the relationship with the body is with total awareness. What is the next aspect of your internal cosmos? Mind, masters. What is mind? Mind means dealing with emotions. All this drama that goes on in relationships, masters, is not because of your body. It's because of our mind. Because of our mind, the kind of emotions that are churning non-stop within us, they rule our so-called interpersonal relationship between our human species. What is the problem? The problem is we have no control over our mind. The mind is ruling the body, masters. We who have been on this path of self-discovery, we have realized mind has been given to us for a specific purpose. If you need to think, you think. Then you put a rest. Just because you have nothing else to do, this mind should not keep churning, masters. When the mind starts working without purpose, havoc happens in life. So when we are talking about this internal body aspects, remember, any problems that we are facing in our lives today is because we do not know how to use our mind. We do not know how to focus our mind. There is so much raw energy in this universe, masters. What does the mind do? Takes the raw energy, focuses it on a particular aspect and manifests. But that should only happen when we want to focus. Even when we have no intention to focus, if this mind is continuously thinking, what is it going to churn out? It's going to churn out rubbish, masters. Hence, the relationship with our mind should be only need basis. Only when you have need, you have a relationship with your mind. Otherwise, we all need to put this habit of resting your mind. You might ask, how can we rest our mind? That is why, masters, we are doing meditation. That is why all these topics that we talk about, to do this practice, how will you get? Through awareness. Whenever you're sitting doing nothing, just be aware of your thoughts. What rubbish are you thinking? Is it really required? That is the kind of relationship you should have with your mind. Not that mind is flying and you are flying somewhere. No, you should be totally mindful about your mind. That is the relationship, masters. The third aspect of our internal atmosphere, internal cosmos, is soul. What is soul, masters? Soul, which I mentioned, is our individual consciousness. We know that there is this universal consciousness everywhere. But when you put a bubble around it and say, this is mine, that is yours, then the terminology becomes, this is my consciousness, that is your consciousness. It's like a bubble. What happens when you burst the bubble? Whatever is inside is everywhere, isn't it? That is how our soul consciousness is, masters. Where as long as we are in this body, we feel that this awareness, this so-called soul, is mine. This consciousness is mine. This is for a purpose, masters. The purpose of the soul is to experience. I just mentioned about emptiness, that all this divine souls, the Purnatma, or, we call higher selves, all the universes and higher selves have come out of this emptiness. We talked about emptiness. Emptiness with an expression of joy, with an explosion of joy. We did mention that. And from that higher selves have come out all those anshatmas, which are our souls. And each one of us have our own awareness, our own sakshi tattva, our own witness mode, which is a window to the universal consciousness. What we are saying is, through this limited consciousness, this acts as a window to the universal consciousness, provided you use this instrument well. So, masters, becomes so important to train your body, to keep good relationship with your mind, so that you can be in connection with your inner essence, which is your soul. Right, masters? We're just learning step by step, how do we maintain relationship. And the fourth one I mentioned here is the spirit. And spirit is nothing but that universal consciousness that prevails everywhere, masters. It is an aspect of you, but it is an aspect of you as well as outside. It is part of you as well as it's outside. That is one common thing that connects you to everything outside. Your mini cosmos inside and the maxi cosmos outside is all connected with that fourth aspect of spirit, masters. It is very important to understand how your internal cosmos and external cosmos relationship is. If you don't understand that relationship, masters, then you will not even be able to cherish it. It's very important. So once you understand this 90% we just talked about, it will be much more easy to fix that 10%, which we are focusing so much day to day. So once you understand that, you have come out of that emptiness, I'm sure you understand that emptiness that I was talking about. And why have we come out? We all have come out of that emptiness with a great divine purpose. We all have our divine purpose. Your divine purpose and my divine purpose are not the same. If your purpose and my purpose are not the same, then you and I will not look same. You and I will not behave same. Your goal and my goal is different, and we will be going on different paths. However, in this so-called game of life, we do meet each other and we spend life with each other. When we totally understand that we each one have our own divine purpose and yet we can live together, we stop having expectations of other persons. Relationships between human beings fail because of expectations, masters. Expectations can only be controlled if you understand the grander purpose of life. Every wife wants to manipulate the husband. Every husband wants to control the wife, because we have our own understanding. This is how life should be. You have your understanding of life because that is your divine plan. I have my understanding of life because I have my divine plan. Your plan, my plan cannot be the same. So your expectations will not work with me. If this basic thing we can understand, then all expectations in relationships are gone. What happens then? What happens then is you let other person to be who they are. Just allow them to live their life without having unreasonable expectations. When you do not have expectations from your relationships, masters, when you break and give that freedom, you know what happens? More than the other person, your life becomes heaven. When there are no expectations here, you will never find any flaw in any human relationship, masters. And that is what is called unconditional love. Allowing other person to be who they are, letting them to be what they want to be. That is unconditional love. Unconditional love is a state of being. It's not an action, masters. Let people be who they are because they have come for a purpose. They have come for an experience. When you understand this grander plan, when will you understand this grander plan? When you understand that there are other aspects. If you only think you are a human being, and whenever you talk about relationship, you're only talking about people relationship, you will never even look at other aspects and the relationship you need to have with this nature, with the planet, with this visible creation, invisible creation, your understanding. Everything has to be alive. All these relationships have to be in harmony, masters. And the only way it can happen by being aware every second, acknowledging what you are doing every minute, and accepting everyone the way they are. It is difficult, masters, but when you remind yourself that everyone comes with a divine plan, everyone has their purpose, and each of us are unique, then we learn to live with people the way they are. And the only basis of all this can happen with unconditional love, masters. So I know I've gone over the time, but when you talk about holistic, I can't leave an aspect out and talk about the remaining aspects. So with that, masters, I will end the topic here, and I will hand it over to Sri Madam.
That was beautiful, beautiful, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful wisdom and, enlightening us on that our internal universe and external universe and the relationship with that. And I love the way you said about, how our ego is stopping our evolution to move into the fourth dimension. And also the relationship with our mind needs to be on the need basis, and how we just use it whenever we need rather than being entangled with it all. Beautiful. Thank you again for sharing. I just didn't want it to finish, but I was conscious of time. Thank you. And I love listening to you. And friends, what I would like to mention here is Madam's Crystal Corner children. Both my kids attend her sessions, and I can vouch when I hear about yogic breathing and words like awareness and freedom from them. As a mother, it fills me with immense joy, and they have gained all that knowledge through those sessions. So I would request you all to visit that website and enroll your children on the various classes again. Thank you. So friends, sadly, we have come to the last day of Reinventing Relationships workshop. But don't be disheartened. We have lots more sessions that we are going to bring forward on topics of gratitude, topics of healing sexual abuse, and acceptance. So friends, if you want sessions on any other topics as well, please feel free to leave comments on the YouTube channel, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Divine Feminine Sangha. So you'll get all the updates that will come through it. So again, I just thank every one of you who have joined on Zoom and through YouTube to listen to the series of sessions, and thank each and every speaker who has been here and enlightening us on the various topics for the last 12 days, including today. And and thank you to Pranahita for arranging these and getting the concept of these for us. Thank you, and to Patricia for being our divine master in all this happening. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Master.
Thank you so much, Saroja ma'am. Thank you so much. It was amazing. So truly completely a different perspective on relationships. So the way you connected to plant and animal kingdom and mineral kingdom, and it is so beautiful. Every time we listen to you, it's a great pleasure. It feels as if you are the goddess of wisdom. Whatever topic that you talk, it's truly directly goes into the heart, and we remember your words every time if we think about any topic, whatever that you talk, the topics that you talk about, even the emotional intelligence or untold story of Sita, now Thousand Seeds of Joy, anything that you talk, it really goes deep into the heart. And thank you so much for being with us today and taking the session today. Thank you so much from all our team from Divine Feminine Sangha. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Pranahita. Thanks a lot.
If you have a couple of minutes, is it okay if we take a couple of sharings, their comments? Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
My dear friends, if you have any comments or any questions, you can raise your hand. Or Shrilu, if you can see any comments on YouTube or Zoom, can you please read them out?
Yes, Pranita, we'll have a look. Yeah, we have lots of people on Zoom saying it was, thank you for the beautiful, amazing session and wonderful, enlightening session and the beautiful explanation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
So if anybody has any questions, please do unmute yourself.
Very pleased to know that there's no question. That means they've understood it well, and it really gives me a great pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you, all the masters.
It was so clear, very perfect, and definitely I was just thinking how you're completely relating these kingdoms and relationships is so beautiful. I really enjoyed your session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pranayita. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you very much.
So we have a question. We have a question by Pixel 2. Yeah, you've been unmuted. Please do ask your question. I don't have the name here. You've logged in with Pixel 2 XL. Yes, please do ask your question. We can't hear you, sorry.
Excuse me, is that me? I didn't come as Saroja. I don't know. I have to see. I have raised my hand. Okay, thank you so much.
Please do go ahead.
Thank you so much, Saroja madam. It's a wonderful session. I just want to thank you. I don't have any questions. I'm Saroja Peta, madam. I'm Saroja Peta.
Oh, Shailaja madam, how are you?
I am fine. I am fan of you, you know.
I know, madam.
As just Pranahita madam told about it directly goes into the heart, I do want to say that how it directly went into our hearts, and whoever people, they can really change their relationships and have a very wonderful life with this session, madam. If it directly has gone into that, I am going to implement now. Really, I can't say. Yeah, thank you. Don't say thank you to us, madam, because we need to say thank you to you. Thank you so much. I didn't know that it come as Saroja. I thought that when the master is calling for Pixel, I'm thinking some other has also raised the hand and they want to speak. And yeah, then again I went and checked, and it is me only. It didn't come as Saroja. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you all
really
the masters
nice
for organizing all these ones. It's really wonderful. I don't miss any session of madams. I want to, directly, not the YouTube, the recordings. I want to come directly and hear what she says, because that I feel that more energies will be there at that time. Everybody will be listening. So this thing, right? In the recordings means it is different. Yeah. Recordings means it is different. Only me will be listening alone, but along with other souls, I will be listening. Thank you so much,
sweet
madam.
of you. So it's a pleasure, Amma. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shailaja.
Saroja ma'am has fans all over the world. Recently, someone from Karnataka, she called me and she was just talking about you, and she said her only dream in life is to meet you in person. I was like,
oh, I'm blessed, Pranayita. It's so nice to talk to all this family. We have developed such a big family, you know, it never ends, and the love comes from far and wide. So I feel the same for all of you. Thank you so much for your love and affection.
Yes, sorry for interrupting, madam, but I want to tell Pranahita that I met madam virtually so many times, Pranahita. There is no limit. Only for physical thing is limit. For other things, there is no limit. Yeah, I like you too a lot, Pranahita. I like you a lot. I spoke to you once, and I wanted to ask your number, but in any other sessions, you are saying that there are thousands of messages in my, so I don't want to give. Okay, it's okay. Whenever it happens, it happens. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for understanding. Ma'am, if you have a couple of more minutes, Shalon is raising her hand. So is it okay? Yeah, Shalon.
Yeah.
Please unmute and talk.
Thank you so much. It was such a lovely discussion, and all the relationships, the connection, and also to the connection of relationship with ourselves. So much. I learned so much. Thank you so much. It was such a lovely explanation. Thank you so much. And thank you for the entire team. I have missed some of the sessions, but I'll catch it up on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Saroja madam. It's always lovely to see you. Where can I hear more about you? About your sessions?
You can go on to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very
Lovely.
much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. And now we have Saroj. Unmuted you, Saroj, ma'am. Please do go ahead.
Yeah. Ma'am,
Namaste, Saroj.
no words. You are genius. Love you too. Too, more and more love. Actually, my 4 students today present in your class. And they
so
personally
nice.
giving me Sita. Just now she's talking about Sita, Saroja, Atlanta, and to Vijayalakshmi Patil and Parvati ma'am.
Okay.
They said,
how
my
nice.
God, the way she's explaining. I said, yes, I told you to come and join. At least then you understand what the feelings come in our mind, what the feelings come in our heart, the way you are touching. Super. Really, super duper hit.
Thank you
Love
for
you,
coming,
ma'am.
Saroj madam. Thanks for attending this.
I'm always ready to join you.
I know. So nice to
Jaldi
have
jaldi
you.
aaya कीजिए. Yeah,
नहीं,
jaldi jaldi aaya कीजिए. We are waiting for you. Okay. Thank
नहीं,
you.
अच्छा है आपके साथियों के साथ आए, बहुत खुशी है.
I just only tell them कि my head is coming. They say, wow, your head. Then definitely we will be there.
Yeah. Hello to all your friends and thanks for attending this session. Really means a lot with your energies here on the platform. Really thank you and appreciate. Thank you, Ma. Love you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Devi Chekka,
Thank you very much.
and
Yes, Pranahita.
was possible because of Devi Garu. So thanks to Devi Garu also. Yeah, please, Devi Garu.
Thank you, Prana, for letting me talk. Saroja ma'am, wow, what
Hi,
a
Devi.
wonderful session. I loved it. You just make us dive into the topic and connect us with all the nature from minerals to humans. Oh my God. And the significance of connecting with emptiness, how to getting rid of our ego, and how simple if we responsible towards all our other relationship, our intrapersonal relationships will taken care of that nature. What a wonderful message, ma'am. Thank you so much. I love to hear from you again and again. Thank you.
Thank you, Devi. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Prana, then I will call it evening and thank you very much. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
And
you. Thank
all
you so
masters,
much.
thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And as Sri mentioned, we have few more workshops coming in. So we'll announce the date. So just subscribe our channel and keep in touch so that you'll know the dates for the further workshops on gratitude, acceptance, healing abuse, and many other topics. And also I would like to thank Sri Marni and Gayatri, Devi Chekagaru, Ravali, Nivya, and Aishwarya from Canada, and Bindu, and all the Divine Feminine Team Sangha members. So only because of all of them, this is possible. Thank you all so much, and love you all. Bye.
Thank you, Pran.